Okay, let's have some fun. What we'll do is that we'll connect the cloud-managed Dell N3000 switch through a Pluribus fabric. It will be connected on VLAN 25 and will use VXLAN between New York and Stockholm, and then we'll use VLAN 25 once again to connect to another switch, which in turn is connected to internet and the Amazon cloud. And here comes a really beautiful part. These are all the commands that are necessary to do all the configuration on the 3 fabric switches. I've already done the configuration of the fabric with the fabric create command on one switch and fabric join on the 2 other switches. Now it's time to configure the ports as 1000 base T or 1 gig ports. Port 1 in Stockholm and New York have now been configured as 1 gig ports, and let's just confirm that with the show command. It's time to create the VLAN that will be used to build the VXLAN tunnel. And I'm using the scope fabric, which means that the VLAN will be created on all available ports. And at a later stage, we will remove VLAN 100 from port 1 on New York and Stockholm. Now let's configure the routers. We'll configure a vRouter in Stockholm and a vRouter in New York. So now we have 2 vRouters, and the next step is of course to configure the IP interfaces in VLAN 100. Let's add IP interface 100.100.100.1 on vRouter Stow. We add IP interface 100.100.100.2 on vRouter New. Let's take a look if the interfaces are up and if they are configured. And bear in mind that we are just doing the configure the tunnel that will be used from New York to Stockholm, and that will transport the VXLAN packages between New York and Stockholm. We will also create the tunnel from Stockholm to New York, and let's then show with the tunnel show command if the tunnels are in place. It's now time to remove VLAN 100 from port 1 on the 2 switches. When the scope fabric is used, all the VLANs are added on all ports. So I will remove that VLAN just for the sake of it. We add VLAN 25 as untagged VLANs on port 1, and we also attach VXLAN 2525 to VLAN 25. What you will notice is that there is some VXLAN configuration missing. And what that is the tunnel termination for broadcast, unknown unicast, and multicast traffic. So you do loop back on a chosen port on the switch. I will show that configuration later. We now have a VXLAN tunnel from Stockholm, and we just made the one from New York, and let's see that we have 2 VXLAN tunnels, and we do have them. The only remaining step now is to create the VXLAN loopback interfaces, and we're using port 48 on switch Stockholm and switch New York in order to do this. And after that is done, we are ready to rock. Let's try to telnet from the red switch to the cloud managed switch, and we'll also try the ping. First we try the ping, see that it works, and then we do the telnet. Now we can see that we have an established telnet connection from the red switch to the green web managed switch. But you can also see, if we look at the source IP, that the web managed switch has an established HTTPS connection to the Amazon cloud. Let's take a last look then on the layer 2 tables in order to see how easy it is to find where an IP address or a MAC address is located. The New York switch sees the IP address and the MAC address on port 1. And notice this command is a command that you can give on any switch in the fabric. The Stockholm switch in turn sees the MAC address on the tunnel going to the New York switch.